All right, I'll say. How are you all this evening of your time as you create time to exist? Thank you very much. We begin this interaction this evening of your time with the following entitlement, if you wish. Peace of mind. For recognize that in that you do create your own reality. And we mean this literally, not figuratively, not sounds nice. You do so 100% complete. Therefore, recognize by extension the idea that anything that you do perceive within what you label your outer reality has, shall we say, a corresponding part, a corresponding portion within you, by definition. If you do indeed wish to see what the belief system of any given individual is, you need simply but look at his manifested reality, for it is a reflection of what one believes within. Therefore, nothing, by definition, is extraneous. Anything that exists, by definition, exists. Nothing slides in there. Nobody slides in there. It's not as though everything fits in creation except you, or except you. No. Does not really make sense, even within the idea of your language. So therefore, again, it is all there, and it all has a place. It all has a reason for being created. And it is, again, and for the first time, a reflection of something within. Therefore, you can recognize, if you do perceive the idea you label conflict, if you do perceive the idea you label war, then it goes to say by extension that these are issues within yourself that you are exploring. This gives you the opportunity to explore these issues from within. For you cannot change anything you do not own. And viewing what you label the set of tumultuous circumstance upon your planet as extraneous, as not belonging, means you are not willing, in a sense, to own it. So, you may, if you wish, take for granted that it does relate to you in some way, or you would not be present, in a sense, to witness it, to explore it. The degrees of exploration vary greatly in what an individual feels they have the need to explore. The idea being that many individuals at this time, as you create time, are physically within the scenario you label war. You are not. Therefore, your exploration need not necessarily be, shall we say, as direct. And in a sense, this is your signal to yourself that you no longer need to explore in quite that direct a way. Very good. However, not to denigrate any other beings who are choosing to explore it, for they are being of service to you. They are allowing you to see, by being bold enough to live out their respective scenarios, how you feel about it. And this is service. This allows individuals to establish their preference, their standpoint. Once you are able to define yourself, you own the definition of yourself. And again, once you own it, you can change it. So recognize it is not extraneous. You may look, in a sense, as your world scenario as a microcosmic expression for what you, as an individual, are a microcosmic expression. Therefore, you see scenarios upon your world whereby individuals representing certain viewpoints interact. You then see a particular way that individuals may choose to interact. In this case, conflict. What you label violence. Therefore, recognize that gives you the allowance to see if this is what you would desire to manifest. If this is how you feel about it. And this is service. One of the main ideas that we have found in viewing your society from our standpoint, our point of view, is there is, shall we say, a popular notion that in order to have unity, there must be conformity. Individuals must think the same, act the same. All right. That is a expression of reality. However, it is not the only expression of reality. There is truly a unity if you will but allow yourself to see it in diversity. And the idea of a functioning cooperative diversity is a system whereby individuals may co-interact with other individuals who do not think the same way as them, who do not act the same way as them, and allow that to be all right, okay, their exploration, their story. Therefore, when you do begin to allow the idea that the ultimate truth is composed by definition in order to ultimately be the truth of all truth, then recognize it is not necessarily a matter of right or wrong. Simply that they are both choices, and you may make any choice you desire. There is, in a sense, no right or wrong. There is the idea of positive, integrative, negative, separated. But right and wrong are arbitrary. For things within your society that individuals label negative, may be that some individuals say that is right, and vice versa. So they are all but standpoints. The idea of integration, recognizing that everything is all one thing, and you are a part of that one thing, allows you to see that everything has its place. Everything has its purpose. When you will allow all purposes to be valid, you will equalize every choice, every possibility, giving you equal access to them. By denying a point of view and invalidating it, you actually give it more weight, not less. If you believe in the idea of peace, truly believe it, you will be the idea of peace. You will reflect the idea in action of peace. When individuals do challenge your viewpoint, you will simply be of service to them by explaining it to them, but in no way, shape, or form insisting that they must adopt it. That is what allows individuals to be of most service to one another, giving an extra choice to any individual of something that has worked for you, but allowing them to refuse or accept that gift. No conditions. Don't have to force yourself upon another. Do not have to inflict harm upon another or yourself. The mere act of forcing something upon another individual generally does tie back to the underlying issue that you do not believe it yourself. Who are you trying to convince? Therefore recognize, if there were only one way, there would only be one person. Look around. There are many individuals. There are many diverse points of view. They may coexist. It is one of the universal options. It is simply that. The difference, once again, and for those who are anew for the first time, between discernment and judgment is discernment simply allows you, in viewing a situation, to see where you stand. You agree with it. You do not agree with it. Judgment is taking the thing you do not prefer, do not agree with, and invalidating it. It is not necessary to go to that point. It is up to you. You can validate a reality you do not prefer and allow any individual to play out their scenario that they have chosen. You only experience the reality you are the vibration of. By becoming the embodiment of peace, you will attract other individuals to yourself of like mind, of like attitude. The evidence of your outer reality will seem to change into a peaceful community, one by one. But we have noticed on your planet a propensity to hate war as a motivation for peace, rather than simply loving peace. Recognize when you hate anything, you become the vibration of hate, which is simply a polarized expression of love, but a separative, polarized expression. Therefore, in a sense, preferring peace because you hate war reinforces the idea of war, of hate, of lack of harmony. And therefore, you may simply love peace when you are able to demonstrate to individuals a peaceful frame of mind, a peaceful approach. You will be of far greater service to allow individuals to see that you may actually be that way. Look, he's that way. Therefore, it is possible. I can see him living this way. Be a living example of that which you prefer. That is of service. You are your own government. You are one and the same. You have created a habitual ritual of making the separation. The structure in which you have, in a sense, empowered those around you to govern you generally has been from a fearful perspective. In a sense, you have created your government for many reasons, but one of the reasons is to handle your fear. They will protect you, all right? But this does mean that they are functioning from, in a sense, a fearful perspective. Therefore, many of the things that you consider lack of communication between your government and yourself are simply an expression of that idea. A person who acts as though they are their government takes what we have just said and puts it into practice. Does not mean you need scream. Does not mean you need yell, carry a bigger stick for peace. It is that you can lovingly suggest as an equal to your government through whatever way, shape, or form excites you. Whether it be a simple phone call, what you call letter writing. But you will notice very clearly within your society in particular, when you issue to an individual an ultimatum, shall we say, even if they were going to do that very thing, there is a revolution. There is a tendency to bounce back against that idea. So simply when you insist to your government You must do this. You are not viewing them as an equal and speaking to them as an equal. When individuals do begin to, from the framework of inner peace, communicate to your government, you will see a change. When individuals go out into the streets and turn over automobiles and burn them for peace, shall we say, what statement is that making? What is that really saying that those individuals believe they must do for peace? You may recognize you can be the embodiment of peace. As you are, by definition, your outer reality will change. It is that literal a creation, that literal a relationship with what you believe and what you manifest. When, again, you are willing to be the truest reflection of who you are of the most service to any individual that comes in contact with you. A gauge of what it is that is truly most you, as we have shared with your society many times, is within integrity, recognizing you are all one thing, all one expression, multi-facets of the same one expression. What excites you is your arrow. What it is that excites you does not do so to tantalize you, to tease you. It does so because it is your, for lack of a better terminology, higher self-consciousness, telling your physicalized expression, this is most me. And as we have also said, bringing along with it all the abundance you need to continue to do the thing that excites you, as well as leading you to the next thing which will excite you. When you begin to 100% live in that way. When you 80% live that way, shall we say again, by definition, you can only experience an 80% preferential reality, still allowing 20% of that which you do not prefer to creep in. It is up to you. At any time, you can do this. There seems to be a concern in your society that doing what excites you the most won't support you. It will. Simply that when you have, shall we say, tried it out in the past, the level of trust was not maintained beyond doing the exciting thing. Once the exciting thing is over with, you go back to your old trust. I shouldn't have done that. That was very frivolous. I enjoyed myself far too much. It's back to the no pain, no gain philosophy. And then in general, you will create physicalized upset occurring from the exciting thing, but it is not from the exciting thing. It is from your trust turning again toward that which you do not prefer. As a reminder, you are always trusting 100% in something. This is nothing that you have to get any practice at. It's simply that many of you trust 100% in that which you do not prefer, rather than that which you do. But it is all a choice. You do not have predicaments in your life per se. You can create them to seem that way. We prefer to label that you have choices. And you can see what choices you have made by looking around at your outer reality. If you prefer what you see, you may continue to make those choices. If you do not, however, you are not locked in a prison. This is not jail. This is not, as some of you have surmised from time to time, hell. It does not need to be. You can create it that way. We need not tell you that. But this can be, and is in fact, heaven on earth now. Simply, you have the choice to choose which reality you will manifest. Another idea that is very key within expansion of your consciousness, which again, some of you may have heard, is as your consciousness does expand, you become infinitely more aware of everything, positive and negative. That does not mean that you must create negative. There is a vast distinction to be made between the idea of what you can perceive and what you must or will manifest, make real, realize. Therefore, we bring in the library analogy. You can go into your library and read any book you wish. The happy ones, the ecstatic ones, the joyful ones. The sad ones, the ones of conflict, the ones of death, strife, the scary ones. It is, however, what you check out that is your life. What you check out of the library that you will experience. Therefore, it is not in any way, shape, or form bad to become more aware of your choices. And that's all they are. Again, the more you become aware of, the more choices you have. The more positive choices you have. You don't only become aware of just the negative. Therefore, you may, within this time of expansion, seem to perceive more negative. But if you are equally astute, you will notice you also see more positive in equal amounts. When you begin to act according to your excitement, only allowing positive manifestation, it is not as though you then spend the rest of your life relabeling negative. No. They actually physically vibrate out of your physical life. But in order to initiate this process, this is the starting place. Finding your choices, equalizing them by not invalidating that which you do not prefer, and choosing that which you do prefer. When you do choose that which you do prefer, a belief, for instance, you then simply act as though you already have that belief. That is what sets up your vibration. The vibration is what you will experience. Therefore, in a sense, you have a saying, fake it till you make it. In a sense, it is not faking it. It is simply lying down the framework, becoming the vibration to experience the new preferred reality. And it is that simple. When you do invalidate an idea which you do not prefer, you are not lessening its strength. You are not lessening its weight. You are placing undue attention upon it. You are making its energy greater. You are making its seeming hold upon you greater. You are making its weight greater. And this does not allow you equal access. So therefore, it is not that you must, in any way, shape, or form, we are not suggesting that you do, condone something which you do not prefer. But simply, when you are facing it, do not stoop down to its level. Do not allow it to have a reflection from you that reinforces its framework. Allow them to see the alternative. Allow them to see what it is you wish to be. Do not reflect back to them the negativity that will simply support them in believing that they are right to begin with. That is not how arguments are settled anyway. For there is no need to truly argue your point. For they are all, in a sense, stories. This may be an aid to assisting you in how to not invalidate an individual or a circumstance or an ideology or any idea. And it is very simple, and it is as follows. That's their story. You may, when somebody is telling you their story in a very loving way, take the pages of their book that fit into your book. Then they are of service to you. You may say to that individual, very creative story. I love your story. If there are pages of your story that fit in my book, I shall insert them. If there are pages that do not fit into the book that I am, I will love your story no less. And that is all there is to it. Simply by viewing it that way. You do not have to fear repercussions of negativity if you are not vibrating as a negative being. If your intention, clear intention, is of positivity, is of integration, is of love, you cannot attract negative circumstance that can experientially touch you. No, it is impossible. Again, you only experience a reality you are the vibration of. Fear, however, again, is saying that you believe that something you do not prefer is most likely. So what can you do with this idea? You can use your fear. When you do begin to integrate and begin to live according to preference, you will only be able to do so by already owning where you're already at. Because of the compartmentalization that you have created in your society, of your consciousness, sectioning it off, subconscious and so forth. You do take things which you do wish to explore and bury them, hide them. These emotions that you label negative are just like any given inherently neutral circumstance. Emotions in and of themselves are neutral. You assign the meaning, and the meaning you assign determines the effect you get out. Therefore, when you find yourself fearing, if you say, oh, this is very bad, that is, I promise you, what you will experience. If you say, however, one moment, everything is neutral, therefore I can use this as an opportunity to define myself where I stand now so that I can determine whether or not I prefer that, and if not, change it. You take any emotion and allow yourself to glean. What must I still be believing to be fearing in this situation? If you are honest with yourself, the answer will come very fast and furious, as you say. Very many times it may be that you do not believe you create your own reality. Okay, own it. Own that you believe that. It is okay. You can't change it till you own it anyway. Therefore, when you do experience anger, allow it to line you up. Allow it to see where you stand. But true anger only lasts 10 to 15 of your seconds, beyond which it is judgment. It is invalidation. Therefore, all right, this situation, this emotion has allowed me to see how I feel. Now, if you then go into the judgment, what must I still believe to be judging that which I do not prefer? Ask yourself these questions. The degree to which you are willing to be honest with the answer will determine the degree by which you will allow yourself to change it. It is that simple. Therefore, again, when you are willing to take responsibility for your fear, when you are willing to view anything as an opportunity for growth, you will, in a sense, take away the necessity to have a governing body do it for you. Once you remove from their toolbox the function of handling your fears, you will then be able to function, having them as more of an organizational body and less of a governing body. Then more true representation, extension of your individualized self. This is the direction that we perceive your planet going. There has been much acceleration upon your planet, and this does continue. However, unlike much of your, quote, history, a distinguishing factor or feature of this particular generation, this particular lifetime, is that it is the transformational age. This is not simply rhetoric. This is why many extraterrestrial societies, are simply being one of them, are very interesting and very interested on what is occurring at your planet at this timing. Very interested. Therefore, you have had your scenario you label Atlantis, within which individuals, in their exploration of separation, of forgetting that they are one with God or all that is, began the necessity for domination. That scenario did, in a sense, fulminate with a destruction of Atlantis. That has already been played out. In a sense, your United States is at the same point, technologically, as the idea of Atlantis. But why we, as positively oriented beings, are even able to communicate with you at this time is from our sensing or reading of what you label your mass consciousness. We have seen that you have decided en masse to not experience another destruction. Therefore, what you are seeing upon your planet physically are vestiges. And it is no coincidence that they are taking place in the area of your planet that they are. For this area was one of the initial areas whereby, shall we say, negative, explorative energy infused upon your planet to begin with. Therefore, that area upon your planet, in a sense, has become a relief valve. You may notice, as you are aware of that, quote, negativity, that the positivity in your life accelerates greatly. That is because they have chosen, in a sense, to be a sieve, a crucible, during which and within which much of the remaining vestigial negativity can play itself out, shall we say, at a safe distance. So allow yourself to glean from the situation you label your tumultuousness, how you feel about it, what you would do. Any emotion that it brings to the surface, allow it to serve you. This is a very highly conducive atmosphere for personal acceleration. And that is only a part of it, not an interruption in it. You have not failed at creating your reality because a war has broken out upon your planet. No. It is part of your exploration. And you will learn many things from it. And although we will not get any more specific than this, you may be a bit surprised at what we perceive to be the outcome. Therefore, in any given situation whereby you feel you are losing sight of what it is you desire, of your reality, the way you prefer it, simply go through these simple steps. Relax. First of all, relax. You're not, shall we say, in your colloquial language, any good to yourself or anybody when you're all upset. So simply allow yourself to release. Take, as you say, a few deep breaths, or any way, shape, or form that allows you to release. Laugh, cry, scream, does not matter. Relax, release. Reflect. What is it that is in front of me? Can I label it as neutral? Can I glean positive reasons why it is there? What are my definitions? Allow yourself again to be honest with yourself about what you already believe. Relax, release, reflect. Remember. Remember your intentions. What are your intentions? Allow the remember stage or step to put you back on track. Then, respond. Go out and begin again to do what excites you. Set again your sights back to where they were. Allow yourself to be centered and respond in a positive way. This will allow you to then realize your mentality. Make it real. The response will create the real reality. And then simply rejoice. For when you do, in a sense, use your creatorship in a conscious way, according to this framework, there is much to rejoice about. You can always then continue to do it. It's up to you. Therefore, we feel as though we have espoused many ideas, and there are many questions. In our love and appreciation for your willingness to co-create these interactions with us in an ongoing manner, I ask you now, how may I be of service to you, sharing